Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Open house, and as you can see, I'm joined Money Matters. Will Chapman, how are you?
Very well, very well. Good to see you, Maltz.
Brock, Harcourt's financial services guru, is off on the Variety Bash Car Barbecue. Already raised $16.5K. Fantastic job. When are you going?
First thing tomorrow morning, 5 o'clock we head off. So
thank you very much for coming in here today.
Yeah, no, it's very exciting.
It's good fun, isn't it?
Oh, it's an extraordinary experience.
Talk us through it. Give Variety. Variety, I think, is a fantastic
incredible organisation. They donate. I think, from what I understand, we'll raise roughly about $30 million in total for the Variety Bash over the 20 plus years that it's been running. So it's a fantastic effort. It's an amazing charity. They give out enormous funds to various charities within South Australia, helping children who are disadvantaged in one way, shape or form. And
just talk us through very quickly the bash. How long is it? 5, 6, 7 days?
7, 8 days, depending on...
There would be a can strapped to your hand. Just about the whole time.
Well, we're going to keep ourselves busy.
You are, mate. It is just meant to be a fantastic, very well organised, very safe. We've got to say it's extremely safe, but geez, there's a lot of fun there.
Incredible.
I heard one of the cars is Rob Kerrin, Lehman, Burdett, and the other cricketer.
I was going to say, I think we've got day 7 with serving oysters up out of Broken Hill somewhere. So
right.
With that team, it's going to be a bit of fun.
You enjoy it. Yeah. Very well done, mate. But well done on getting it all organised, because I know there's a heck of a lot of time goes into it.
It's a good event.
Righto. Now, what I would like to know, young fella, some of the election promises have to have an effect on the borrowers in some way, shape or form.
Yeah. Well, certainly they will.
Can I just run through a couple?
Sure. Go
all
for
right,
it.
Let's go for it. Paid parental leave.
Yes.
How's that going to affect borrowers?
Well, firstly, the biggest thing is paid parental leave doesn't exist for most people out there in one way, shape. Many of them do have it, and they have it in various forms. The great thing about paid parental leave is normally if you were having a child, you would be essentially disadvantaged as a borrower, because you go to the bank and the bank says, well, actually you haven't got any income for that period of time that you had the child. You're doubly disadvantaged because you've had a child as well, and the costs associated with them go up, so your borrowing capacity goes down. One of the great things about paid parental leave is obviously you'll be able to claim and show the banks some of that parental government income that you'll receive. So no matter which side of politics wins, they've both got a paid parental leave scheme that is going to be rolled out, and borrowers will be able to benefit as a result. They just won't be quite as disadvantaged as what they had been previously.
I reckon that's fantastic. So they get a bit of extra money in their pocket, and when they go to borrow some more coin, that's counted as some of their income.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, well done, government.
Yeah.
Well done,
Either way,
as well.
It's a good thing, yeah.
Yeah, very well done indeed. Infrastructure spends.
Yes, infrastructure spending is going to be a big one. We've already seen the schools expansion. They've had the building infrastructure. That
was a little bit interesting, wasn't it? Got a little bit cute, because what it actually did do is drove up the cost of renovation on houses, because everybody was so busy.
Yeah, absolutely. And we've seen renovations actually in the bank's minds overcapitalised, because the prices have just been a bit too much. What people are spending to renovate. Yep. But indirectly, in many ways, obviously, we had to spend the money as part of the GFC.
Absolutely.
One of the things I think that either government will need to focus on is just making sure that they don't spend too much and stimulate the market too much.
Yep.
We often think that the government has a lot more control over interest rates than what they do. It's really the RBA that has the trigger that will either increase or decrease the interest rates and have the immediate knock-on effect. With governments, it's a much slower knock-on effect, so they have had a lot of stimulus spending. As far as I understand, they've still got a lot of money to actually be distributed out into the market. So it's one of those things I think they need to be a little bit careful to make sure that they don't throw too much money out too quickly and overstimulate the economy and force the RBA up.
How do we stop them from throwing it out there, Will?
Well,
I think got to trust their
well, that's right. Ultimately, we do need to trust the Treasury, and both sides are agreeing to spend tremendous amounts of money. I would just be sort of saying to people, just spending money frivolously is not necessarily the way to go.
No.
They need to make sure that they do it in a very controlled manner.
Let's hope they do. Wise words. Population debate.
Well, the population debate's actually one that's reared its head pretty recently. In the past sort of couple of weeks, I know that it was thrown out there with the whole boat people thing, and not to get too political on it, it's not necessarily something that I have really much
opinion on.
Yeah. But what I would say is the population debate. I read a very good article in the West Australian Weekend Australian magazine last weekend that probably flew in the face a little bit of what we see as being this out of control growth. And in fact, if we think about it, the more population that we've got, assuming that we've got the capacity, people aren't building schools and things, we've got the capacity to actually build developments and houses, then we really do need a continuing flow of people into this country to make sure that there is constant demand for our housing market. And if it's not there, then you're going to see prices fall.
There you go.
And it's one of those things where ideally we want to see nice controlled growth, that we don't want to be saying we don't want a cap. I don't think we want to say we just want to open the gates, but we do definitely need to have some sort of controlled growth.
Well, I have a plan for it. There'd be a new one.
A plan would be good, and
growth.
if they're the right skilled people, then it'll also keep a control on unemployment, which has a knock-on effect directly.
Now, this does become a little bit opinionated, and you just mentioned it, skilled people.
Yes.
How do we go about getting the sort of, in inverted commas, the right types of people into our...
I think both sides of government have probably done quite a good job of actually making sure that we're filling areas of the economy that are needed. So if we need teachers, we are able to get teachers. If we need hairdressers, we are able to get hairdressers. But I certainly do think that it's something that they need to keep their finger on, because if we get too many of the wrong types of skill sets going around, then we are going to have some challenges and some pushing and pulling, higher unemployment of people who are coming into this country hoping to get a job and they're not able to because there aren't the jobs to fill. Last
one, mining tax. And we just heard that WA in particular, their market certainly dipped.
Definitely.
Definitely know our Iron Triangle, Whyalla, Port Pirie, Port Augusta, on hold.
Yes.
As soon as the mining tax was announced, pretty much.
That's right.
So what sort of effects is that going to have on Laurels?
Well, that's had a big impact. And WA, if you compare Melbourne, which is the worst sector of their housing market in Melbourne, went up 13%. You look at Perth, which has gone down. You sort of go, well, wow, what an impact the mining tax potentially has on people's sentiment. I think that that's one that we really need to watch. It is going to have a very, very big knock-on effect if it comes into play, and how it's delivered will certainly either scare people into just sitting on their hands, or alternatively, obviously, if people work out that it's actually not really going to have a major impact, then hopefully we'll start to see a bit of growth back in those sectors. But it certainly has had a big jolt. You are a very wise man, Bash Car Barbecue, Will Chapman, aren't you? Well, I try to help wherever I can. I tell you what's interesting, Will, it's just so many different facets of the whole sort of economics that can affect people, and so many people, I'm included until recently, just don't show enough interest in it. Yeah, I think a lot of people don't necessarily understand it as well as maybe what they see, a lot of the spin that comes out of the media. And look, that's fine. The media obviously has a big part and a big role to play in both some of the good and bad messages that are given out there. But I certainly would say take an interest. No matter what side of politics you're from, it's important that you understand what you're going to be signing up for when the election comes around. Well, make it easy for us, because you usually blog this sort of thing. Your newsletters are awesome. I do. So you continue to do that. We'll get it out to the people, and they can make a wiser decision on August the 21st. August the 21st. Yeah. Will Chapman, Brock Harcourt's Financial Services, loved having a chat, and I do want you to hang around, because the next gentleman I speak to is nearly as much of a legend as you. Mark Rasciuto, absolute ripper. Best footballer going around in South Australia, wasn't he? Brownlow medalist, captain of the second, it was, premiership team, All-Australian, and I've forgotten how many times that was. Just a fabulous fellow who helps out with the community, and also a very clever businessman. So we've got a little interview, Will, and I want you to sit here and watch. Please enjoy.